Welcome back in 4th and 5, and I want to thank everybody for last week. The video did amazing. The episode was awesome as far as views, comments, engagement. I feel like a lot of people like that breakdown of what happened in the second half of the Oklahoma State game. And I told you I was going to get a little bit more in-depth, and that's exactly how we're going to start this episode off right now. When it comes to the offensive line play, especially in the second half, the mental errors, what they're thinking, I didn't play the position. I have a good idea of what's going on, but the in-depth knowledge of understanding exactly what's going on, well, I had to call up a friend of mine, and that's why we're going to be joined right now by former offensive lineman Grant Cook. First of all, Grant, man, I miss you, man. You and me, boys back in the day, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
Razorbacks, Packers, the whole deal.
The whole deal. Remember our days in the quad our freshman year. We can reminisce all we want, but, let's give our viewers what they want. And so I wanted to bring you on, and as I said, you understand it from a different perspective. And even myself, someone who was very involved in the game, I even understand people who have been in those situations and know what it's like when you're trying to get a reach block and you got somebody 350 pounds pushing. I don't know what that's like. You've been there before. And so when it comes to watching tape, I think you and I both saw a few things that are good and some concerning.
Yeah, for sure. I think overall, you've got to be proud about how they fought, how they played. I mean, at the end of the day, at 10:59 a.m. on Saturday morning, there wasn't a whole lot of people out there that had too high hopes, right? And
Right.
You come out by halftime, you really think, okay, we got to go win this one. And we look at the tape, you think there's some really, really good things that happened on the field, and there were. There's some things that definitely need improvement. And we're going to walk through some of those today, I think. And you and I actually called out a couple of the same plays after we had talked. And it's going to be good. I think, you want to give everybody a little bit of a different insight, a different outlook on what we see and how we see it and what's trying to be accomplished and a lot of those things. So I'm all in to walk through a few of those today.
Yeah. That being said, let's go and pick up. You want to start in the first quarter.
Yeah. So starting in the first quarter. So let me get my stuff pulled up here. Sorry, folks. All right. So starting in the first quarter, this is near the end of the first quarter, rather, about 4.5 minutes left in the game. And so we've got a little bit of a slide protection here. So slide protection is center guard and tackle on one side of the ball or picking up any kind of combinations on that side, right? So center's looking for his outside shoulder, kind of protecting the guard's protecting the tackle. The tackle knows he can take a deeper set, protect that side of the quarterback. He's got inside help from the guard. The guard's got inside help from the tackle, or from the center, rather. So if you look here, I'm going to stop the film just after the ball snap. Talen's in his drop. The backside guard, so in this case the left guard, should be assuming the person that is nose up on the center. And what you see here is he comes down to do that. The center is giving him a little bit of help, but he just takes his eyes off of him, looks back at the tackle on his side, and completely abandons the center. So the center's thinking, okay, this left guard's coming to take this block over. I'm not worried about him. I got my hand on him. But now the backside guard's just taking off. Luckily, the center feels that, gets back and gets him a little bit of pressure, pushes him out of the way. You see Talon do a really good job here of stepping up in the pocket and throwing a strike down to Satania for a first down, keeping the drive alive. And, it's 7-0 at this point. We're up. And you want to keep these drives alive, but that could have been disastrous. I mean, luckily the center didn't let his hand off of him, or he would not have felt that.
So being in those shoes, this is a hard question because a lot of people want to know, why would that left guard do that in that situation? Like, what might he be seeing or what might he be thinking? Or is it one of those when we used to watch tape and a coach would be like, what in the hell is happening on this play? There really is no explanation. Yeah. So what's going on in his mind?
Yeah. So they kind of come down with a 3-down look with a stand-up backer on the outside, right? So you're kind of thinking, okay, this is just a 4-man front, one standing up. They're probably coming. It's a passing down, 1st and 10, empty backfield, right? So unless it's a designed run by the quarterback, the defensive line's thinking, hey, we're pinning our ears back and we're coming.
Yep.
And so I'm going to run it back to the beginning here. As the ball snapped, you see that nose guard try to kind of cross the face of the center. When I say cross the face of him, he's trying to come across his face, right? He's trying to cross
Yep.
his body and get into the gap the center's moving toward. So I think only explanation that I could see is the left guard sitting down trying to go get him. He sees that action coming across, thinking, okay, defensive guys going into the A gap. That's the center's gap of protection. So I'm going to bail out and go back over here and help out my tackle who's on an island against one of the best pass rushers in all of college football. And what that defensive lineman does is he fights that pressure, doesn't come all the way across his face, and then loops back in. And like I said, luckily the center is there to stay on him, kind of gets on his hip and rides him by. Talon does a really good job of stepping up and finding an open man.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, really. I mean, I think maybe he saw that action and that was it.
Yeah. So, and this is a good thing too. No matter how much these guys practice, every game you're going to see something new, a new look. It goes at a different tempo. So, good thing right here, Talon is able to avoid, get out, and make something out of that play. Great teachable and tape right here for these guys to see it, experience it, and learn from it. And that's the biggest thing, Grant. A lot of people are wondering, oh, is it the same old stuff? These things are teachable, and they're very, very easily fixable, right?
Yeah, I think so, right? I mean, I think the thing you got to walk away from last week is when you're looking at these things, we didn't get blown off the ball a lot. We didn't get just completely demolished up front, right? If we came out of that game Saturday and we looked like very unorganized, didn't know what we were supposed to be doing, couldn't get the ball off on time, a lot of things that you're like, man, we just feel that's not there yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the stuff that happened is completely coachable. I mean, special teams obviously had some issues there. I mean, those things we can go fix. We've got the athletes to go out and compete. Obviously, we've proven that against a really good team. So I mean, it's exciting, but we've got to get it fixed. I mean, at the end of the day, you can have all the ability in the world, but if you don't go out and get that, that 10% better each week or 8% better each week, you got to get better every week over week. And if you don't, then that's probably cause for concern. But at the end of the day, this is really, really good film. And something else I want to talk to folks about really is, in 2008, Coach Petrino came in. You and I were there. You were a sophomore. I was a redshirt freshman. This offense is extremely complex.
Yeah.
They're not even. I would say that they've got the bases down right now, right? I mean, this is like freshman level, 1,000 level classes of this offense, and it's still really kind of hard to pick up a lot of different schemes for you guys, especially. I mean, the H-back tight end type role.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of different responsibilities in the offense. And I think that what we have to remember is that they don't know everything about everything yet. This isn't the 2010, 2011 offense that we are all so fond of. It's more of 2008, 2009 offense where there's a lot of learning left to do. These guys are still having to think a little bit on the field. And you and I both know. I mean, if you're thinking,
that's bad news,
and not just reacting to what you see, you're going to be a step behind, and a step behind is completely beat in a league like this. So
I mean, I remember that day that I didn't have to think about what to do and second guess myself before the snap. You play so much faster and things become so much easier, and you pick these things up. So let's keep this ball rolling. Get back to the tape. What do you? Were you staying in the first quarter, or what we got next?
Yeah. Staying in the first quarter here. So this is about a minute later, maybe the next play even. So we run a little. Looks like we're trying to run a little counter here, a little counter trap, something. Get up underneath the defense, and so looking at the right tackle here. So the right tackle steps down to down block, which is what you would want to see. He steps pretty flat, expecting the defensive lineman to come upfield and penetrate. Well, the defensive lineman comes across his face, right? So now he's fighting back against that pressure. So he sees that defensive lineman come back. That's his assignment. He's stepping back out. Well, what he does is creates a huge roadblock, and you've got a pulling guard. The left guard's pulling to go kick out. and all he's done is just created a big, massive blob of people, which in the run game is exactly what the defense wants, right? They want to clog everything up. They don't want there any clear gaps. It actually ends up working out pretty good. Actually, I think if this play goes off without a hitch, I think that front side linebacker probably comes downhill, and it may be a TFL there, tackle for loss.
Yeah.
But you got to give it to Jaquindon Jackson. Really, really great vision. I do love that about him. He's pretty patient and likes to see that cutback. He sees it here, and he comes across backside, and it's like a 15, 20-yard run. Here's the one thing I do want to point out. So front side, not great, right? Got a few things to work on. Focus where your eyes are going to go. What's your aiming point? Are you aiming for that hip or that shoulder? And make sure that's the step that you take to go capture that person. I want to talk about the center, though, and I was really, really impressed with Addison Nichols. He takes this guy, big nose guard, number 97. I mean, the guy looked huge on TV. I think if you were there, anybody was at the game, you can confirm or deny that. Looked really big. So he's initially coming off and thinking, okay, I've got to get my hips to my right side because the ball's coming this way. I'm going to shield this defender from being able to get across my face. Well, he gets quick swimmed and stays on the block. Now, that's going to come up later. We'll talk about another quick swim that comes up later, a little bit crucial moment. But he gets quick swim, stays on the block, gets on the guy's hip, and gets some movement. If you look at where the original line of scrimmage is, he's 3 yards deep with his man off the line of scrimmage because he keeps his feet. He's an athlete. He stays on the block, seals it off, and gives Jaquindon Jackson that cutback opportunity. So, where there is, a little bit of mud, sometimes you find a diamond, right? So great vision by Jaquindon Jackson right there. Super impressed with him all day. But I want to go back into another run here, or go forward rather into another run. Jumping in the second quarter, almost to the end of the second quarter, down here on like the 11-yard line, going into score, 14-7. Big moment in the game. We got to keep the momentum going. We've kind of got them on the ropes a little bit. And we block a play perfectly. I mean, I don't know that you can really ask for more than what happened on this play. So it looks like, and DJ will know this reference, it looks like 16, which was probably a check. So 16, front side guards pulling to kick out, tight ends blocking down, right tackle in this case is blocking down, center's trying to slip up and get the backside linebacker. And if it's blocked, it's almost impossible to stop. So paused it right here. Ball snapped, going forward here. Watch the center. He is coming up, slips through the backside. Perfect guard cuts on the backside. Center gets on linebacker number 4, Nick Martin, I believe was his name. Really good.
He's a good player.
A lot of tackles. Tons of tackles last year. He had quite a few in this game as well. Gets on his hip and pushes him right by the hole. Rewinding a little bit, go back to the front side. Guard pulls, beautiful kick out. Tight end gives him a little jab step, comes on the outside, widens him out just a little bit. DJ used to be really good at that.
Thank you.
Great aiming point for the guard, driving his feet. And Jaquindon makes the safety miss, which safety was coming from off the hash and doesn't really have a chance, especially gets a bigger back like that. And, I mean, he's in there relatively easy, barely gets hit on the play. Is about as clean as it can look. So those are the kind of things that you can see the glimpses, right? You can see the glimpses of when things go well, when we hit our assignments, we do that, these plays work. I kind of think about like Vince Lombardi, right? I only got 10 plays. I won't have to create any more because they can't stop them. They know what's coming, but you still got to stop it, kind of thing. And it's exciting to see when all of this stuff comes together.
The cool thing about you showing that good, bad, we tend so much, and I tell people this too, we're just kind of built this way. And I get myself in a situation where I only kind of focus on the issues. But I think former players, when we kind of get in this groove, and you can go back to those meeting rooms, how often did you sit in a meeting room and Coach Pacino told you everything you did right and he praised you and said, Grant, I just want to let you know you're crushing it right now.
Yeah, never.
never never happened.
It
Just so
didn't happen.
yeah, it never happened. It's just so hyper focused on working on the things to get better. And so, like I
Right.
said, as much as we kind of go and pick and be extremely picky about these things, I just want to remind people we are aware of all the great things. As much as I talk about the issues, and this is the first time I've seen this in a long time, this is what's good. The breakdown I did last, it seemed like I spent 20 to 30 minutes just talking about all the things wrong. I could have made a 3-hour video, Grant, of all the things that went right. And so there is, I couldn't say that last year. It was probably
Right.
flip flop. And so heading in the right direction. So as we kind of pick and prod this apart, like I said, we would just want to do our best to answer the question of why the game ended up the way it did, while also highlighting some really good things promising in the future for the Razorbacks up front in the trenches. All right, moving along, Grant, what you got next?
Yeah, so we'll jump forward, and I think I maybe backed off a clip a little bit too far. Um, so one clip, and it's a clip, but I think we can just talk about the situation more so than we have to show the clip. It's the play, 3 minutes left in the second quarter, so you're coming back down right before halftime.
Yep.
Kind of another crucial, middle eight, last four of the first quarter, or last four of the first half, second or first half of the. Sorry, I just butchered that, but.
I'm over here trying to put the numbers 4-3 second
last
half.
Last 4 minutes of the first half, right? So the first four, and then the first 4 minutes of the second half. Okay, that's like your middle eight, right?
Yeah.
You really want to capture your middle eight and improve and do a really good job there. So 3 minutes left in the second quarter, going into halftime. We got to drive, and this is just more of a question from me, I guess, and it's not critical of the coaching staff or anything like that, but we have a really close play on the sideline, right? Did his toe get down? Did his toe not get down? And it's a chunk play, right? You really want to go get that. We've got 3 timeouts and 3 minutes left in the half. We're probably not burning all 3 of those timeouts. At that point, we're up 21-7, right?
Yep.
So my question is, why not challenge it? What do you have to lose, right? I mean, throw the challenge flag, call the ref over, whatever the rules are in NCAA football nowadays. I think I would like to have seen that. Just give them a chance to make a call. And it was a real bang play live.
Yeah, you're talking the pass to Broden over his shoulder, right on the Arkansas sideline, right in front of our bench, and you saw the indication from everyone on our sideline. It's a catch. It's a catch. It's a catch.
Right.
If you go back and watch, it does look like he got his toe down. Now it was super close, but like you said, why not take the time to challenge that? And that brought into question. And like I said, I love Coach Petrino, big believer in what he does. And like I said, I know people have their mixed emotions about Sam Pittman. I like the way he has this program running right now. That right there, and then the plays to follow with the timeouts that we had, the end of the game with the 2-minute situation, clock management. I was surprised at the end of the first and the end of the first half and the end of the game, clock management. I thought those were no longer going to be issues, and taking advantage of trying to get more points on the board at the end of the half. I was just, is this the same guy that when there was like 4 seconds left on the clock at halftime, right before halftime against LSU, we went and scored a touchdown? I mean, and so it really threw me off of why are we, it seemed like we were saying, okay, we got a lead, let's just get the half. And I agree with you, Grant. The aggressive part, I would like to see that ramped up a lot. All right, first half wrapped up. Second half, that's when all things started to fall apart. What'd you see on tape?
So when we break the huddle, you're going up. I'm immediately looking at, do I have a 3 technique? Someone on my outside shoulder. Do I have a 2 technique? Someone head up on me. Do I have a 1 technique? Someone on my inside shoulder. Is my guy over the centers? He is shade on the centers. He on the center's outside shoulder. What's this defensive end doing? How deep are the safeties? Is the safety off the hash? Is he on the hash? Are the linebackers at different depths? That's telling me that they're trying to cheat up because they're probably going to run a scrape blitz or some sort of a twist blitz on the inside. You're analyzing all of these things as you're walking up to the ball, because that dictates everything about what my assignment is on this play. it's
Mm.
not as simple as I think people sometimes think. It's just these huge men out there running into each other and like, I hope it all works out. You know, I mean, you hear people talk about all the time, like, oh, these, big dumb football players, they just go out there and slug each other. And it's like, there's a whole lot more that's
Yeah.
going on in between each of these plays than
Yeah.
anyone can imagine.
And what you just described, talking about the technique of the guy in front of you, you also pass protection, depending on what it is. And most people think it's just 4 down linemen and maybe 1 linebacker you have to account for. Say you walk to the line and there's 8 people lined up across the line, and y'all have to sort and figure out of these 8, which 5 are coming. Maybe 6, who knows? They may bring 7. I mean, there's just so much going on. Now, calls do help. And you talked
Yeah.
about this, and we talked about year 1 Petrino versus year 3 Petrino. And so the way they do it in their pass protection, they're going to have a number, they're going to have a color. You could have gray, you could have black, you can have white. Those 3 colors for me, they indicated my responsibility as a tight end. If it's white, I'm out. I'm not a part of the pass protection at all. If it's black, the offensive linemen, they know I'm staying in. Now, next level stuff, Grant, if you know it's black and, hey, Luke has or DJ, they're going to stay in and protect. And based off the shade, and we know that somebody's on the edge, they're most likely going to slant. I'm more likely going to probably have to help the center than I am the tackle because I know DJ's staying in. Not for sure, but that's just what I'm thinking to kind of be ahead of the game. And then we have Gray. Gray is, I don't know if DJ is going to be there or not, depending on what he sees and if there's pressure coming. He makes the decision, is he going to stay in or not? And so, like you said, so you get calls from tight ends. You got calls from backside linemen. You got calls from the quarterback. And like you said, all this process in about 4 seconds. We're just trying to paint the picture. This stuff ain't easy. And so it's impressive when you see guys on the same page, 5 of them, pick up these blitzes. And like I said, it's going to take time, Grant. But I'm sorry to kind of jump in there. I just wanted to make sure people really understood exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I love the breakdown. And I think it's important for people to know the background to a lot of these things. It's easy to say, man, that guard's terrible. He missed that linebacker. He was right in his face. How does he miss that?
Yeah.
Well, he there's a lot of things going on here.
Yeah.
So, I think that, the last piece to that is you go up there, you have a called play in the huddle. You know what your assignment is when it comes up, when you walk up to the line. You analyzed all this information, and then all of a sudden the quarterback goes, hey, easy, easy. And then changes the play, and now my hand's on the ground. I can't pick it up because it's a false start. So now I'm looking around like trying to figure out, all right, he just called other play. Where's my guy? Where's my guy going here? Like, what did he see?
Easier for a tight end than a tackle, right? Because they can be up a little bit. They see everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel bad for you
like
guards.
Standing up, looking around. I'm over here like neck roll on, trying to like look through my eyebrows to see if this, if Donta Hightower's about to scream downhill and blow my head up, But
you got Terrence Cody, 400 pounds in your way, blocking your vision.
Yeah, just Marcel Darius, Terrence Cody, and Donta Hightower on one side, and then that's even if you can hear the call that's made.
Oh man,
because it's so loud in the stadium. Anyway, just trying to paint a picture, folks. Just trying to paint a picture. Or maybe have a little bit of grace when you see some things that don't pan out so well. That it's a high pressure situation. But so I want to go to a clip that kind of illustrates a lot of those things, right? So fourth quarter, 14 minutes, 23 seconds left. Okay. So we're in the fourth quarter, 21-13, still 8-point lead. Everything is very much so in our control in this game. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys walked up on the line of scrimmage. Okay. There's 5 offensive linemen and a running back in the game. So potentially we know they could bring more than we can block, right? Mm-hmm. That's just, you have to assume that. And what you're always taught as an offensive lineman is you pick up the most dangerous man. So in your mind, you're thinking, okay, the most dangerous man. And for the people watching or listening to this, the most dangerous man is the person that has the shortest route to the quarterback. They always say the shortest route is a straight line, right? So anything, if I'm a guard, which is what I played, and I'm next to the center, and he's got 2 people standing up over the top of him, I know based on the play call, the center is taking one of the two of those guys, right?
Yep.
I'm going to have to set down and get a little bit of depth and try to pick up this guy that's in the A gap, in the gap between the center and the guard,
Yep.
because that's the direct straight line to the quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you look, the right guard here, I think it's Josh Braun, number 72, repping number 72. I like it.
Okay, 7-2.
So ball snapped. So what I don't love about his set, okay, when I say set, his pass protection, is he gains no ground. You've got to make the defender declare themselves. And when I say declare themselves, if he's coming, you have to make him come, right? You have to make him jump in there and go. If you don't, then he is going to try to drag you that block in and then bail out into protection. And then it's going to free up whoever is coming off the end or off the other side or whatever. When you get depth, it allows you to bail out when you see him drop and go at least get a hand on someone, right?
Yep.
Doubtful that you're going to get a good block on him.
Yep.
I mean, but you can at least disrupt his path to the quarterback enough to give someone that's, I mean, athletic as Taylor Green, he doesn't need a lot of space, right?
Yep.
But you got to give him an opportunity. So he sets just straight up pretty much. I mean, he just comes out of his stance, looks at that linebacker. Linebacker takes one step and bails out, and you see a guy come screaming off the edge. I'm going to run it back here. So the defensive end in this play, I mean, the tackle sets out for the widest man. The guard's got to get out and get a hand on this defensive end that's come screaming off the edge. Now, once again, Taylor makes an unbelievable play. Rolls out to the right, is a straight-up athlete, and throws the strike down to Broden about the 30-yard line. Another, 15, 20-yard pickup for us. But just think about, I mean, I don't have the full clip of the field like you would if you're watching, actual film. But if you give him time here, it ends up just being a 4-man rush. So we've got plenty of people to pick this thing up if you use the right technique. But if you pick this up and give him time to throw the ball, you never know what's going to happen, man. I mean, that's the one thing when we were playing at Arkansas with the guys that we played with, the offensive line always talked about is like, we have so many athletes on this field, and I feel like this team is pretty similar to that with the amount of athletes we have on the field at any time. If you give Mallet time or you give Tyler time or whatever, there is no telling what will happen.
Yep.
Someone's going to get open because they can't cover them all. And I feel like that's where we're at with this team. We just got to give them a little bit more time. Jumping ahead.
Wait. Before you move on, I'm going to stick on that play real quick, Grant. And like I said, next level stuff, which I think we'll get to. These plays sometimes get overlooked just because Taylor makes amazing things happen sometime with his legs and extends those plays. But right before that snap, you see Taylor, and this would be awesome if this is what's going on. Taylor moves Jaquindon Jackson to the right side of the line of scrimmage. He pushes him up so you know it's not a handoff, and he points at the pressure, the side of the pressure. It looks on film in that situation, he's aware of maybe the responsibilities for the offensive lineman. Because like you said, if there's a guy lined up in the A-gap as a guard, you have to pay attention to him and at least acknowledge him first. And what we did in the NFL and what we did at Arkansas, that we sometimes would make calls. Now, even if that is the running back's responsibility, a linebacker or so, whatever, if he's from depth, then you don't worry about it. But since he's all the way up on the line of scrimmage, we understand even if a running back has that responsibility, Grant, he doesn't have enough time to get to him before he's in the quarterback's lap. So what I think maybe would be good here is for it looked like Braun was just addressing his linebacker that was lined up in the A-gap. I believe it was 4 or something like that. And that defensive end, I'm assuming when he moved the running back over there, he put him over there for protection, but he just slipped out of the backfield and he hooked up for like an outlet route. And the reason I don't believe that is right is because Isaiah Satania was in that same area.
Cross.
Coach Petrino's offense, he's not going to put 2 people in the same spot. It's just not going to happen. And so just talk about like is that a potential of maybe why Braun was not so quick to get out, because he thought the back was going to pick that guy up? And do you think that's the best way to do it, is to have a back take that end instead of go ahead and making a call to get Braun out there and maybe move the running back up a little closer to the line of scrimmage to pick up that A-gap blitz if he comes?
So I think probably, and this kind of gets into like what I was talking about earlier, right? We're in like the freshman year classes of Coach Petrino's offense, right? Next year we're going to be in the sophomore year classes and so on and so forth. And then it gets better and better. We always decided, especially later on in the offense, when we all had a better understanding of what we were going to be doing and how we want to do it, is that you always want, so it's most dangerous man, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you want bigs on bigs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when I say what you want bigs on bigs, you want the offensive line on the defensive line. So if you don't really want to send your back to go block a 280-pound defensive end, if you don't have to, there's going to be times where that it's just a necessity, right? You have to do it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think what I would have liked to see here from Talon and Jaquindon, especially if this is with the conversation that's happening, hey, this is where the pressure's coming from, make sure that you do this, is see Josh Braun take on that defensive end that has his hand on the ground. So he's the only person up there that has his hand on the ground. He's identifying himself as a big. Yeah. And send Quinden into the A-gap to pick up the linebacker, right? Yeah. That's just a better matchup overall for him, is to block a linebacker versus the 280-pound defensive end that's coming in there full blast, right? Now, he can cut block him, and you can get into that. But just as a rule of thumb, you want your offensive line to block the defensive line. If it's, at all possible, that's what you want to happen. So I really would have liked to see like Josh pat his hip or whatever the signal was on his outside hip saying, hey, I'm going outside, you're going inside, right? Or if I'm squeezing, hey, I'm going to pat the inside of my hip. Everybody behind me sees that, knows I'm going down. You got this guy that's over the top of me, right?
Yep.
It's just a different understanding of the offense, and I think they'll get there.
Yeah, because the only reason we know that is because Coach Petrino taught it to us, but it took time for us to get to that level of making it on-field adjustments without the input from the coaches telling us what to do and making those decisions on our own of saying, I need to make sure I'm picking up this pressure. So we'll get there. All right, let's move along. What you got next?
All right, so jumping into 11 minutes left, almost 12 minutes left in the fourth. 3rd and 14, long. I mean, it's third and long, right? Play that you got to have. 21-13 still, right? We go down. Defense does a great job stopping them. We get the ball back. So here we go. We're coming in. So once again, tackle sets with depth is really good, but he's got to understand by where the safeties are, what they've been trying to do in the second half by walking people up and creating confusion on that offensive line, that, hey, I need to take a vertical set here, right? Because I've got somebody on my inside. I know the guard's taken up. One of these two guys has got to declare themselves. He takes a little bit more of like a horizontal or 45-degree set, which is a typical set for a tackle, lets the stand-up linebacker come scot-free.
Yep.
Once again, I mean, Talon does a good job of getting the ball out right here. I mean, he's got a guy right in his face. He's retreating. He misses Satania over the middle. I don't know that, we make a first down off that because it's pretty cluttered in there. But you really, really want to see just a little bit more of the understanding of what could happen here in your technique. Once again, does he get a hand on that guy? Maybe not. It's a linebacker. It's number 4, Nick Martin, I think you said. Yeah. Really good football player. He takes a great route on his blitz. He comes a little bit more inside than bows it outside, just for the purpose of, I think he thinks that tackle is going to try to drop and get a hand on him. But you see the tackle's eyes. As soon as that guy drops, you immediately turn back to the inside, because if something goes away, something's coming to you. That's like the number one rule of the offensive line, right? If something goes away, something's coming to back it up, right? And you immediately turn your eyes to wherever that movement came from.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get there. Like I said, I know we keep saying that, guys, but I really do believe that. I mean, this film right here, there's so much learning from it. And when you slow it down, you go back and watch it and dive into it, there's so much to learn from. Okay, so going back to the run play here, This little play I like to call 49.
Nice. Oh, it's beautiful.
So this is depending on the front. So depending on how the defense is lined up, the guard or the center is going to pull along with the tackle. Okay. The tight end is going to block down, and we're going to get out on the edge. So this is about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Tied up, right? They've tied it up. It's 21-21. We're at midfield. This is where you got to go score. You got to keep the pressure on Oklahoma State here. So I want to start by saying Luke Haas I personally thought he was an in the route pass catcher, get out and get after it in open field.
No, he gets in there.
Really good blocks.
He does.
I mean, he had some really good blocks. So I'm going to pause it right here. You see him come down. He picks a perfect landmark, outside shoulder, driving his feet, and then just wads this defensive end up. And maybe it's a linebacker. Let me go back and look here. Stand-up defensive end, wads him up in the pile, sets that edge, right? Number one thing, creates that wall. Mm-hmm. The left guard, or the left tackle rather, pulls around him, goes and kicks out the DB. Centered comes up, number 4 again. Great football player, makes a great block on him, and Jaquinson's off to the races.
Nice. That's beautiful play. Yeah, called up, dialed up, executed extremely high level. That was fun to see. And that one right there, too, I don't know if you saw the quick communication from Talon. Those were those flexibility plays that he gives the tight end right there, Grant. Our down stretch choice. I don't know if I'm giving out insider information. But tight end knew exactly where he was and blocked down. The play was checked at the line, called into the perfect play. All right, for time purposes, Grant, and my battery running low on my computer, which I forgot to charge, let's go ahead and get all the way to that last play of the game. Because you alluded to the nose guard doing a swim technique on the center, and you said we were going to talk about it. Let's hop right to it.
All right, we'll jump into it. Man, you get me in the film room, dude. I just get wordy, and I love it.
Hey,
I love it.
The thing is, we've only talked about 5 plays, and it's been 40 minutes. This is honestly what happens in the film room for those guys. It takes forever to watch a game and break it down, but this is honestly what they talk about in those meetings. So y'all are getting a first behind-the-scenes look of how these things break down, and the coaches give a little bit more choice words on how each play is. Let's just go ahead and say that. But take us to that last play of the game.
I will tell you this too, guys. If it's as you learn and you kind of know what you're supposed to do and you just mess it up, but everybody in the room knows, hey, he knows what he's supposed to do. He just got beat on this or whatever. The worst thing in the film room is when the laser pointer just gets pointed at you, and then no words are said, no coaching is coached. You just watch the same half second of a play like 4 or 5 times, and then the coach just turns around like this. I got it.
He leans back in his chair, pauses it, and points that just like this on the screen.
Point that you just on your knees, man, like sitting there like, well, you're like, hey.
And your boy is over there talking bad about you. Oh yeah. The thing is, as a player, you know it's coming.
Bro, you got the grade sheet. You know what play it was. You hadn't forgot, man. It's only been one day.
Oh,
you did it on Sunday.
I forgot about that. That's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So last play of the game here, right? I think, one thing, call it out, and it's been talked about on the radio and every Razorback podcast and everything. You probably don't want to see Hill in this situation, right? I think we had one timeout. It's the game. I think I probably call a timeout here if it's me. Let's get our ducks in a row. Let's make sure that we're on the right page. We run the right play that we want to run, that we get everything aligned, get the right personnel in the game. That right there felt a little rushed. We talked about it a little bit earlier.
Yep.
So at the point of attack, right, we're trying to run between the center and the left guard. Mm-hmm. At the point of attack, and this is the sad thing, is Addison Nichols has been wearing this dude out, number 97, all game long. He's been a non-factor, but is a factor in the biggest play of the game. Addison probably comes out on his point of attack a little bit high. He's firing off the ball, right? We're trying to get movement, trying to go get 1 yard. and push them back. And 97 does it's a great play. He quick swims, meaning he takes that hand and swims it over the top, right? Causes Addison Nichols to kind of lose his balance. He goes down to a knee. Now, I will say he didn't give up on the block, and I appreciate that. I think he was trying to dig him out, crawl on his hands and knees, and keep it going, right?
Yeah.
And he knew how pivotal the play was.
Yeah.
But it just felt like Oklahoma State, as soon as he did that, that hole opened up, and it really made it super clear for those backs or those linebackers and safeties. This is the hole, right? We're going to come in. We're filling it downhill, and we're diving down in there. Maybe with a little bit bigger back, you get an opportunity to spin out of that one and get some get a little forward lean. But I mean, they gang tackled when it came to that play, and there was just not a whole lot that you could really do there. They had it defended, and kudos to them for not giving up.
Yeah.
And not backing down that day. I mean, it was tough to watch. It was tough to see, especially when you had so many self-inflicted wounds. But man, it's been fun, dude. This has been great.
It's been fun. I love it. I'm all about it. And like I said, I know you're busy up there. You got a little baby, and it keeps you a little bit more priority on that than this. But anytime we can have you, man, we appreciate it. I love the in-depth knowledge. And like I said, now we're going to have our fans hopefully paying a little bit more attention to what's really going on up front, the battle in the trenches. Grant, it's been a pleasure, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Hopefully it wasn't too boring for everybody out there. Hope you guys enjoyed college. I can be back as much as everybody wants me to, man. I really enjoy having
You say that next week Grant's going to have a mic, a whole setup, lights, and everything. I can't wait. Yeah, 4th and 5 studios up there in Northwest Arkansas. Hey, Grant, appreciate you, bro.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too. All right, now let's go and hop straight into that Hogs injury report. And for that, we got a special guest back in studio, the unofficial 4th and 5 studios. Kurt Reynolds is here. And before we kind of get started, man, thoughts on that game?
Yeah. I mean, I've been a Razorback fan long enough that I've experienced this before. But after how well they played in the first half, it was tough to watch that second half.
All right, so one thing that came from that game, talk about conditioning. You talk about Jaquindon Jackson. Would have been very nice to have him for that last play of the game, but apparently that was just cramps. So we're just going to go ahead and chalk it up to that. But I will say one thing that we did see, Luke has seemed to maybe have something going on with his back.
Yeah, after he caught that touchdown pass, you could see, I mean, he was at about the 5-yard line, and he just stood straight up. And you could see he lost a step and almost didn't make it in the end zone. But as soon as he did, he reached for his back, and you could see when he came out on the sidelines, he was pretty frustrated. And you could clearly see, he said, my back. He then added some colorful commentary after that. But, it looked like it was just a muscle spasm. So I'm hopeful that that's nothing that's real significant. Our classic pulled muscle or low back strain, that's typically something that the training staff can get better pretty quickly. But you could tell. I mean, it sure slowed him down a step on that touchdown catch, but he was still able to come back. Had some pretty clutch catches throughout the rest of the game, and didn't miss the rest of the game, which I think is our best indicator that he's going to be able to rally for this weekend.
Yeah, you talk about this weekend, a game, probably we don't need him. Would you rest him or just let him go?
I think it kind of depends on how he's doing. If it's we're Tuesday, if today he's still a little tight and it's hard for him to bend over and tie his shoes, he may really need to be mainly in the training room, hitting that rehab regimen and not really worried about this weekend against UAB. Hopefully he's, got some good treatment on Sunday, got some good treatment yesterday. He's back at it today because, certainly getting those reps with this offense, new coach on the offensive side. So I think all the reps those guys can get, hopefully cut down on some of those mental mistakes that hit us on Saturday.
Yeah, I hope all is well there. Let's go ahead and transition. I know a lot of people want to know about their fantasy football lineup, so let's get to it. And when they heard about the news that they may or may not have known Christian McCaffrey was going to start or not, I know a lot of people upset about it, but let's talk about that calf. And as you know, when it comes to a calf injury, there's no telling how long those will take, especially for a running back position.
Sure. I mean, the last injury report I saw, it classified it as calf/Achilles. So, the calf muscle, we all know what the calf muscle is. The Achilles tendon is the tendon that attaches the calf muscle to the back of the heel bone. And that's tough for any skill position player because it requires so much push off, so much explosion, especially for a running back. So, I mean, I have a feeling with this being early in the season, they're going to be pretty ginger with McCaffrey. They're being pretty tight-lipped about if he is going to play this weekend. He's still listed as questionable. I looked earlier today; they had not updated his practice status. Pacific time, maybe they're going to update that later today. But I would keep an eye on it. If he's not practicing tomorrow, then I would probably be pretty quick to have someone else in that running back position if he's your number one. If you don't have anyone on your bench, you need to be hitting the waiver wire tonight and trying to pick somebody up that can get you some points on Sunday.
Okay, all right, yeah. So we'll see what happens there. Let's move to the quarterback position. Jordan Love just signed a huge contract, and we saw the injury that happened there. And you see the video with his knee, and you saw that pop. What is that?
So you could
exactly
see
happened?
his knee shift, and he sort of got hit that high-low classic, and so the knee opened up towards the inside, and I think that pop was when his MCL tore. So they've classified it as an MCL sprain. Sprain just means the ligament was injured. So the difference between a partial tear and a sprain is just how you describe it. Good news about MCL tears, even if it's a complete tear, most of those heal without surgery. It takes 3-4 weeks for it to completely heal back. Obviously, the goal or what we hope for Jordan is that he's got a grade 1 sprain, grade 2 sprain, maybe 2-3 weeks. He's back at it 100%. But I'm sure they've got him braced up right now, letting that tighten back up, and going to be hitting the rehab pretty quickly with him.
And I want to make sure we hit on this. The world of athletics, a lot going on right here in the state of Arkansas with high school football. A lot of kids play on Fridays. They may be dealing with some injuries. Parents trying to figure out exactly what to do. What's the best way that if they want to go about getting some help or seeing you, how do they go about it?
Yeah, so we have a Saturday morning sports injury clinic at Ortho Arkansas. It's every Saturday morning during football season. You do not need an appointment. You can just walk in. It's open from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturdays. If it's midweek and have a practice injury and don't have an athletic trainer at your school, we have an urgent care that's, again, walk in, open till 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and open till noon on Saturday. So we've got a lot of ways that you guys can come see us if you have an injury. Our urgent care is in our Little Rock office on Fair Park and 630, as well as our North Little Rock office over by David's Burgers and McCain Mall. So come see us if you have any problems. We're happy to help you out. Unfortunately, football season is up and running, and we've had 2 sports injury clinics in 2 weeks. So far, we've got 2 ACL tears. So it's part of the business and part of the game, but obviously we want to keep these kids healthy and safe and keep them on the field.
Okay, I'll take it. Doc, appreciate you.
Take care.
See you next week. Always a pleasure having Dr. Reynolds, who is top notch in his game of orthopedics, no doubt about it, but a big football fan as well. So very excited that he wanted to be a part of the show here this year. All right, as we kind of wrap this up, I know it's been a fun one, a lot of information, no doubt about it. But one thing I want to start doing, I want to encourage people to continue to ask questions. I'm trying to figure out a format to really push some of these questions that y'all leave in the comments to the forefront, because I would like to have a little part of the show where I just go through those and maybe answer those questions. And if I get them ahead of time, I can even potentially do a breakdown explaining the questions that you might have. But I got a good one right here. I believe this is Vi Hockey Guy. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. He says, man, I really feel like we didn't need to make any more plays offensively or defensively to win the game. We just needed to not commit ridiculous mental errors and make massive unforced mistakes, even with the penalties, even more missed field goals, even with more no pass rush. We were never stopped offensively unless we gave the ball away or dropped snaps and put ourselves behind the sticks. Clean that up, and we will win some football games. This viewer right here, you're on par with what I really do believe. Very fixable things. Love that comment. I think that's a great point. And I know a lot of people were saying the 3 turnovers. I think a couple guys came out in a press conference and said it was the turnovers that got us. We just take care of those 3 turnovers, we win that football game. Yeah, that's obvious, but turnovers are just a part of the game. It's those mental mistakes we pointed at that we stopped ourselves, even with the pick six, even with the muff punt. even with the fumble on the toss to Jaquindon Jackson, still was in a position to win that football game. That must make you feel pretty good moving forward. And sometimes football things just happen and you have to overcome them. And you're put in a situation where if you just do your job, small things, you win that football game against a top-ranked team on the country on the road. Man, it's been a fun one. Y'all continue to please support the channel. I really do appreciate it. And the feedback that we got from last episode, man, it really wanted to make me do more. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of editing, no doubt about it. It takes a lot of time. And so to do that, we just need continued support. So if you like what you're seeing, the best way to support that and keep that going is because I looked at the analytics. We got a lot of people watching, just a few people subscribing. So it would really mean a lot if you would hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, share the page, because the more subscribers we can get, the more time we can spend on this, because we could potentially get some support from some third parties of giving us the resources that we need to continue to make this happen. So please hit that subscribe button. Just hit 3,000, which is awesome. I looked back at some videos just a year ago. We maybe had like 47 views. It was very small, but I like doing this and I just wanted to keep doing it. And so we went from 47 views on a video and to 10,000 on this last one. So like I said, really appreciate that love. Just need more subscribers to keep that ball rolling. Would mean a lot if you just hit that button for me. Y'all have a good one. You're watching 4th and 5.